Hey everyone, it's Scott from Heroic Studios Gaming coming at you with another video today. Today we're going to be covering Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This video is coming a little late because it's been a busy month for me, as I described in my What's Going On in August update video for August 2022. But let's talk about Uzumaki. So Uzumaki is a series of comics that was written by Junji Ito. It was published by Seinen Manga Magazine, the big comic spirits or whatever, from 1998 to 99. It was then bound into like 3 volumes and then eventually into one omnibus edition, which came out in 2010, I believe. And then in 2013, it was translated into English, and I didn't discover it until a little bit after that. But Uzumaki is a series of, I'll show you again, Uzumaki, the little subtitle is Spiral into Horror by Junji Ito. It is a series of stories that take place in Kurozucho, which is a small sort of fog-bound town, and it really follows the one teenager named Kirie. It's like her story. Their town is really screwed up by spirals, and it goes along with the other stuff that Junji Ito has done, which is Gyo and Tomie. It's the same kind of thing in this sort of weird horror fiction stuff. And being bound into one giant volume is actually pretty cool. Though I think the 3-volume set would also be pretty cool, because the first set is like each of the different groups kind of feels the same. Like there's like something's going on in the first like third, and then something's going on in the middle third, and then something going on at the end third, and they're all kind of related to each other, but all kind of slightly different. But they're all related to spirals. And so the thing about this book is that it's this sort of story, it's sort of this epic tale of the things going on with Kirie and her family in this town, and all of the different stuff that happens related to spirals, which is an interesting concept because there's not a lot of, like, say, occult things going on, but there's a lot of, like, weird going on, and the spirals sort of cause them. At some point, it kind of gets a little bit abstract as to what is a spiral and what is not a spiral. But like, fortunately, Kirie's boyfriend continues to like remind her that these things are spirals. So that's kind of a neat note where we get to see like, oh, okay, this is the author explaining to us how this sort of relates to this spiral concept. But overall, it's this interesting, very cool story that just continues to slip deeper and deeper into madness. Very Cthulhu-like thing, a very Cthulhu mythos-like thing. And Junji Ito has said that H.P. Lovecraft is one of his inspirations, and it's very obvious when you read this that that is the case, that there's definitely this sort of H.P. Lovecraftian sort of weird cosmic horror thing going on, this sort of overpowerful, doesn't really care about people kind of slow sink into madness. But it's a cool story for like English speakers and for Americans who like H.P. Lovecraft, or for anyone who really likes H.P. Lovecraft. But it's even cooler when you understand how this fits into the Japanese mindset, and how it sort of fills that niche of like weird horror that's been sort of weird stories that have been part of the Japanese mindset since the beginning of like their recorded history. So it's pretty cool for me. From that perspective, because I know this about Japan, I know this about Japanese storytelling, Japanese ghost stories, things like that. This sort of fits right into that. So if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft and weird stuff, this is right up that alley. So I wanted to go ahead and like tell you about it. So the first, like I said, the first third of the book is following sort of one set of kind of spiral stories, and then the middle third kind of follows a different set, and then the last third is like, you know, sort of the wrap up, as it were, the erosion of the town at the very end of this madness trail that they've been going on. And it's very cool. The other thing about it is that you get this like look into some pieces of Japanese society, because Junji Ito really pulled from like everything he knew. And so there's old cultural stuff that sort of comes out in the story, because this town is kind of backwards, kind of old. And so you get a cool insight into like Japanese history and Japanese culture and the development of things. Like specifically, there's this whole thing about row houses and how they survive this spiral madness, essentially. And how they also are part of the spiral madness, how they become sort of intertwined with this sort of weirdness in this town. But row houses are kind of a unique thing to Japanese history. We don't really have that sort of stuff in the American frontier stories, for example. So it's pretty cool to like see it not only as a thing that does exist still in Japan, but as a thing that's like, it exists, but it's really old, but everybody knows about them. But then it sort of plays into the story a bit more about these row houses and their build and their construction and that kind of stuff. And like the more modern techniques might not necessarily withstand the crazy madness of old times leaking out into our modern reality. So it's very cool. I am very excited. I liked it a lot, and I thought I had read some of them, and I had read pieces like a story here or there that I'd found on the internet, but I hadn't actually read the whole entirety of Uzumaki. And having got this at Barnes and Noble recently for I think $27 or something, $28. That's a pretty sweet deal. It's like 600 pages of awesomeness for $28. It's well worth the buy. So I mean, it's not a bad thing, but I don't know what else to say. I mean, I was super impressed with it, and I really liked where it goes. And I don't want to spoil it because there's all these individual stories, so I can't really spoil it because I could tell you about one chain of events, but then that chain of events is over, and then there's another chain of spiral-related events that occurs. So it's like this continuous sort of epic tale that of people that are affected by the spirals, and essentially Kirie being kind of outside of it until she gets affected by it, but then even then, she continues to be kind of outside of it. So overall, I give it like 2 thumbs up for storytelling, 2 thumbs up for visuals, and 2 thumbs up for its compilation as a whole. So I mean, I don't really have much to say about that. This will be like a super short video because it's just great, and all I can say is you should buy it and you should read it if you like weird tales and sort of weird horror kind of stuff. So go buy it, like it, read it, fall in love with it like I did, and have a good time. So that's all I've got to say about that. Yeah, super quick video. Just wanted to get it out there, let you guys know how I felt about Uzumaki. It'll play into some of the other things I'm talking about this month. So yeah, it'll be great. So I guess that's it, everyone. I hope you have good reading time and that you have some tales to tell to me later.